While I was away on vacation, my mom sold my $130,000 car to cover my sister's credit card bills. When I came home, they laughed. "Guess you're riding the bus now." I just smiled. "What's so funny?" they asked. I said that the car they sold was actually. I thought my family saw me as their son, their brother. Turns out, they just saw me as a bank account with legs. And the day they sold my car without my permission? That was just the beginning of the nightmare. It was 27, single, and living in Arizona, having spent the last 8 years working like a dog to get ahead. My childhood was dirt poor. Mom raised me and my younger sister, Chloe, after Dad left when I was 10. Cereal for dinner, lying about field trip money, I knew that struggle. So, when I landed a 6-figure software sales job straight out of college, before 25, I truly believed I was rewriting our family story. Or so I thought. Last year, I bought my dream car, an Audi R8. $130,000, used but pristine, paid outright. Not to show off, but because I'd worked non-stop, saved aggressively, and passed up every fun purchase for years. It was the first time I splurged, the first time I allowed myself to enjoy the fruits of my labor. I even kept it at my place in Phoenix, far from Mom and Chloe's drama. I never brought it home, not once. But none of that mattered in the end. I'd planned a 3-week vacation to Japan for over a year, completely unplugged. Before leaving, I moved my Audi into Mom's garage. I know how that sounds in hindsight, but my complex was renovating its underground parking, and my space would be exposed. The HOA warned about dust, damage, and break-ins. I couldn't risk the R8. I called Mom, practically begged, if I could store it there. She agreed, and I even tossed her a few $100s. I dropped it off the day before my flight, handed her the spare key, and said, very clearly, "Please don't let anyone touch it. This car is my baby." She laughed and told me not to worry. No red flags then. We weren't close, but things were okay. I'd paid for her roof repair, bought Chloe a laptop, co-signed her apartment, even covered credit card debt when she maxed it out. I thought I was being a good brother. I didn't realize I was enabling a bottomless pit. Japan was everything I hoped. Gelato, ancient ruins, beautiful strangers, no responsibilities. I lived in the moment, barely touched my phone, and didn't check my bank accounts. Stress wouldn't cross the ocean with me. But something felt off when I landed back in Phoenix. My phone buzzed with missed texts from Chloe. The last one, sent 2 days prior, read, "Thanks again for understanding. She said she'd tell you herself." What? I texted back, "What are you talking about?" No reply. I shrugged it off, assuming a misunderstanding, and Ubered to Mom's place. My heart actually skipped, excited to see my car. It sounds silly, but that car symbolized everything I'd fought for. Pulling into Mom's driveway and seeing that empty garage, though, that was the first flicker of dread. I rang the doorbell, still jet-lagged, trying to hold it together. Mom answered with a weird smile, bracing. "Hey, Ethan. How was Japan?" I walked in, set my bag down, and didn't waste time. "Where's my car?" Her smile faltered. "All right, about that." I froze. "What do you mean about that?" Before she could answer, Chloe popped her head from the hallway, dressed for brunch, holding a Starbucks cup like a trophy. "Oh my gosh, you're back. You didn't tell me you were coming today." "I literally did," I snapped, my voice sharper than I intended. "Where's my car?" They exchanged a look. That look. The same one from when Chloe broke Mom's vase and blamed me, or took money from my room and called it borrowing. Mom sighed, like she was the victim. "Okay, listen. Before you freak out. Where is my car?" I wasn't shouting, but my jaw clenched so tight my ears pounded. She waved her hand. "It's fine, sweetie. We sold it." Time stopped. You what? We sold it, she repeated slowly, like I was the one not understanding English. Your sister was in a lot of trouble with her credit cards. And you sold my Audi R8 to pay off Chloe's debt? Now I was screaming. I didn't care anymore. She was drowning, Ethan. Mom threw her hands up. We didn't know what else to do. The interest rates were insane. That's not my problem, I said. Actually, Chloe chimed in, it kind of is, considering you always said we're family and should help each other. I stared at her. You sold my six-figure car without my permission? That's grand theft, Chloe. Grand theft. Do you understand that? Oh, please, she scoffed. Don't be so dramatic. It's just a car. It took everything not to lose it. Heart pounding, hands trembling. I looked back at Mom. You let her do this? She didn't let me, Chloe cut in, smirking. It was her idea. I couldn't breathe. Mom stepped in front of me. Ethan, I know this sounds bad, but you weren't using it. Because I was on vacation for 3 weeks. Exactly, she nodded. It was just sitting there. We figured why let it go to waste. I stared at them, stunned. Then Chloe snorted and said the words that made everything snap, guess you're taking the bus now. They both laughed. Like it was a joke. Like I was being ridiculous. Anger, betrayal, disbelief surged. But I didn't yell. I didn't scream. Instead, I smiled. A small, tight-lipped smile. Chloe stopped laughing first. Mom looked uneasy. What's so funny? Chloe asked. I looked at her calmly. Oh, the car you sold? Yeah, that wasn't my car. Their faces paled. The tide had turned. It was a lie. Technically. The car was mine, legally and financially. But the title? That was in a trust, under my company's name. That detail would matter a lot. But in that moment, I was watching my mother and sister, the two people who were supposed to have my back, trying to process what I just said. The silence was thick, tension pulsed like electricity. Mom spoke first. What do you mean, not your car? You bought it. I nodded slowly, still smiling. Yeah, I bought it with business assets through a holding company. The title's not in my name. I paused. Which means you didn't have the legal right to sell it. Chloe blinked. Wait, is this like one of those tax things you always brag about? She mocked, but her voice wobbled. She was catching on, but too late. I didn't answer. I pulled out my phone and dialed. Who are you calling? Mom asked, her voice sharp now. My lawyer. Chloe actually laughed. Are you serious right now? You're going to sue your family over a stupid car? The call connected. I stepped outside, leaving them stunned. My lawyer, David, had handled my LLC and the trust. I gave him a brief rundown, facts only. Tell me you have the VIN, he said. I do. Good. Don't say anything else to them. Let me make some calls. When I stepped back inside, the atmosphere had shifted. Mom paced the kitchen, Chloe was on her phone. The smugness vanished. You didn't tell us it wasn't in your name. Mom snapped. You didn't ask, I said calmly. Besides, even if it was in my name, what made you think you could sell it without my permission? We needed the money, Ethan, she shouted. You're sitting on this expensive car while your family is struggling. I've already helped you both so many times. I shot back, my voice finally cracking. How much is enough for you? I paid off your roof, Chloe's apartment deposit, her first credit card debt. You act like I owe you just because I worked my butt off and made something of myself. Chloe stood up. You wouldn't have anything if it weren't for Mom raising you. She sacrificed everything for you. And I've been repaying that ever since I got my first paycheck. I fired back. But apparently nothing I do is ever enough. The room went quiet again. That night, I didn't go back to my apartment. I checked into a hotel. I needed space, quiet, and to think. The next few days were strange. David started digging. Since the title was under the trust and the car a company asset, it was easier than expected to flag the sale as unauthorized, no documents signed by me, no consent. The kicker, they sold it for $50,000. A $130,000 car gone for a fraction. Chloe had racked up almost $40,000 in credit card debt. Apparently, they were planning to surprise me with kitchen upgrades at Mom's house as a thank you. They sold my supercar to renovate Mom's kitchen with the leftovers. Laughable, if it weren't so insulting. Over the next week, I didn't talk to them. Chloe sent guilt-tripping texts, I was going to pay you back, family comes first. Mom didn't text but posted a cryptic passive-aggressive quote on Facebook, money shows who people really are. That almost made me laugh. Meanwhile, David contacted the buyer. He had no idea the car wasn't theirs to sell. To his credit, he was cooperative, wanting to avoid legal trouble. But he wouldn't just hand it back, he'd already put nearly $10,000 into it. He wanted me to buy it back. I was livid. Not at the buyer, but at them. At Mom. At Chloe. At how easily they decided I didn't deserve my own property if it meant they could dig themselves out of their mess. I'd suspected Mom favored Chloe, but this was betrayal. And the worst part, I wasn't even surprised. The signs were always there. Chloe was the golden child, the baby who could do no wrong. When she dropped out of college, Mom blamed her professors. When she totaled her first car, it was my fault for not teaching her budgeting. When she blew savings on spa days, Mom called it self-care. Me? I was the fixer, the ATM, the one who had it easy, who had to carry the weight of their poor decisions because I'd made it. When I confronted Mom about it once, she brushed it off. You'll understand when you have kids of your own. I let it go then. Not anymore. David started drafting paperwork. Things got real fast. I wasn't bluffing. I'd given them enough chances. This crossed a line. One afternoon, reviewing documents in my apartment, there was a knock. It was Chloe, sunglasses on, hair done, holding a brown paper bag. I brought food, she said. I didn't move. Why are you here? To talk, she said, brushing past me like she owned the place. She set the bag down. You're really going to take this to court? Yes. She laughed bitterly. You're such a jerk, Ethan. You stole from me. I needed help. You needed to call me and ask, not go behind my back. She crossed her arms. Mom said you'd understand eventually. Then Mom's as delusional as you are. Her jaw clenched. You know what? I get it. You think you're better than us now because you've got money. I shook my head. No. I think I'm done being treated like a walking wallet. We stood there in silence. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. Mom said if you push this, she's going to tell everyone what you did in high school. I blinked. What are you talking about? She said you had a situation with that girl. Remember Sarah? It hit me. 10 years ago. Sarah, a girlfriend who dumped me. Rumors, lies, ugly fallout. Are you blackmailing me? I asked quietly. Chloe didn't flinch. I'm saying if you take this public, so will we. That's when I knew. They weren't just misguided. They were dangerous. Not criminally, but emotionally. They'd rather destroy me than admit they were wrong. That changed everything. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just looked her in the eyes. Get out. She hesitated, grabbed the bag, muttered something, and left. That night, I stared at the ceiling, heart pounding. This wasn't just betrayal. It was a lifetime of manipulation, gaslighting, guilt-tripping, and weaponized family loyalty. For the first time, I wasn't afraid to burn the bridge. The only question was how. And trust me, I had a plan. But before I tell you how I got back at them, let me tell you about the last time I trusted them with something important. Because this wasn't the first time they'd crossed the line. It was just the first time I'd noticed. The Audi betrayal wasn't a one-off. Deep down, I knew that. Growing up, I carried the weight. Dad was gone when I was 10, no calls, no support, just a dusty photo album. Mom did her best, I told myself. She worked part-time, picked up shifts, made sure we had food and lights. But at a price, her patience, and expectations for me far beyond a 12-year-old. I became the man of the house before I was shaving. Got Chloe to school, fixed pipes, stopped asking for new shoes. I told myself it was normal. That's what you do for family. Chloe was the princess, the baby, the one with excuses. D's on report cards? Teachers were picking on her. Shoplifting lip gloss? Peer pressure. Every slip-up, someone else's fault. Every time I fell short, I was told to be responsible, set an example. By college, I was emotionally exhausted. But I stayed close. Called weekly, sent money, came home for holidays, paid utility bills. I thought I was being a good son. But now, I questioned everything. After Chloe's visit, I did something I hadn't in years, opened my old photo box. Dusty, warped, smelling faintly of Mom's vanilla candles. Snapshots from before everything got complicated. Me in a science fair shirt. Chloe in ballet. Birthday parties. Halloween. Faded Polaroids from the beach. One photo hit me, Chloe and me on the hood of an old Ford Taurus. My first car, a junky $1,200 purchase from bagging groceries. It barely ran, but it was mine. My freedom. I remembered the day it died, transmission blowing on the way to school. I cried. Not for the car, but because I couldn't afford another. That night, Mom said, sometimes life takes things from you to make room for better things. It sounded wise then. Now, it felt like foreshadowing. The next week, David called. The R8 buyer received a formal cease and desist. Reluctant, but now aware the sale was illegitimate. We had a solid case to reclaim the car or its full value from Mom and Chloe. That same day, a voicemail from Aunt Carol, Mom's sister. She lived a few towns over, always kept her distance. Ethan, honey, I know things have been tense, but I thought you should know. Your mom's been saying weird things about you. Lorraine at church heard she's telling people you're having a mental health crisis, making up stories about her and Chloe stealing. I didn't believe her, but you might want to keep an eye on things. They weren't just playing victim. They were rewriting the story. Mom went full PR mode. Justifying what they'd done, planting seeds that I was wrong. Acting erratically, angry, obsessed with money. Telling people I had a rage problem, threatened them, isolated myself because of greed. I sat there, phone in hand, feeling the hollow dread of realizing someone's been building a case against you in secret. That's when I checked my credit report. Maybe paranoia, maybe instinct. The moment I saw the new inquiry from Quickline Auto Finance, my stomach dropped. A new loan application in my name. I didn't recognize it, didn't authorize it, but the address was Mom's. A punch to the gut. I called the company. After hoops, someone confirmed the worst. Someone used my name, social security number, and credit profile to apply for a used BMW 3 Series. I asked who signed the application. The name, Chloe Roberts. My sister. She tried to buy a car in my name after selling mine. I nearly dropped the phone. I sat there for a long time. No rage, just bone-deep exhaustion. All the years of helping, the chances I gave, the times I told myself, they didn't mean it like that. And this is how they repaid me. Not just stealing my car, but forging my identity, opening accounts in my name, trashing my reputation, turning extended family against me with lies. It wasn't just betrayal. It was war. I called David, told him everything. He told me to sit tight. The more they exposed themselves, the stronger our case. That night, a text from Chloe, "You always said you wanted to be an only child. Congrats. You got your wish." No apology, no remorse. Just a twisted goodbye. Then she blocked me. 2 hours later, a Facebook notification. Mom had posted something new. Morbid curiosity. It was a photo of her and Chloe in front of a newly remodeled kitchen. Stainless steel, subway tile, granite. The caption, "Sometimes you lose a son and gain peace instead." #family is what you choose. I stared at it. Didn't cry, didn't scream. Just shut my laptop and poured wine. They'd made their move. Now it was my turn. And trust me, I wasn't done yet. But before I explain how I turned everything around, you need to understand something else. Something I haven't told anyone because the biggest betrayal, the one that broke me, happened before the car. And I didn't realize it until I found the envelope. I found the envelope looking for passport renewal papers. Buried in my filing cabinet, a thick beige envelope, unsealed but clearly tampered with, shoved back like someone hadn't bothered to hide it. Inside, a letter dated 3 years ago. From Dad. Handwritten, from a man I hadn't heard from since I was 10. My throat closed as I read the Montana return address. His shaky, unmistakable handwriting. And the contents. They changed everything. "Ethan, I know I've got no right to ask anything of you. I know I left you and your sister at a time when I should have been there the most. Not a day goes by that I don't regret it, but your mom and I had our problems. I don't know what she told you, but it wasn't just about me walking away. She pushed me out. Told me I'd never see you again if I didn't agree to stay gone. I didn't fight hard enough. I should have. That's on me. But I've been following your life from afar. Heard through Carol that you're doing well working in tech, making something of yourself. I'm proud of you, son. Truly. I sent a small gift your way. A cashier's check for $15,000. It's not much compared to what I owe you, but it's something. I want you to have it. Do whatever you want with it. But more than anything, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for missing your games, your graduation, your life. If you ever want to talk, here's my number. No pressure. Just know, I think about you every day. Love, Dad." No check in the envelope. No deposit slip, no copy. Just the letter. The floor shifted. I don't know how long I sat, trembling, heart pounding. Not for the money, but because I never saw this letter. Someone took it. Someone opened it, read it, and decided I didn't need to know. My first instinct was denial. But the envelope was peeled open. My name, Dad's handwriting, the postmark was clear. It had arrived. It had been in my house. Suddenly, all the little signs connected. Mom's comment years ago about my real dad not being worth the drama. Chloe's joke about my secret admirer sending a charity check. At the time, I thought she was random. Now, they'd stolen something more than a car. They stole my chance at closure, at a choice. For what? 15 grand. It was like getting kicked while I was already down. That night, I didn't eat or sleep. I stared at the ceiling fan. Anger, grief, betrayal. But beneath it, emptiness. A heavy, dragging silence in my soul. Like a part of me died without me noticing. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was about everything. The years I spent being the good son, the responsible one, the fixer, the glue holding together a family that saw me as nothing more than a resource. They laughed when they sold my car, mocked me, blackmailed me, stole my identity, smeared my name. And now, I discovered they'd cut me off from the one man I'd spent my life wondering about. The spiral was slow. Skipping meals, waking up sick. My job, normally my anchor, became a blur. I missed meetings, ignored emails, stared through my screen. David called to update on the case. I barely registered it. The car buyer was cooperating, ready to testify. We were building a civil suit. He said our chances were strong. I mumbled something grateful, not even sure I meant it. My apartment got messy. I stopped shaving, stopped responding to friends, stopped pretending I was okay. I wasn't. I felt hollow. Yet, somewhere in that wreckage, something small began to stir. Not hope, not yet, but resolve. It started with small things. Cleaning dishes, taking a long shower, trimming my beard. Not for anyone else. Not expecting a magical bounce back. I just needed to move again, to do something. I started journaling, brain dumps, half-finished sentences, angry scribbles. Sometimes a full page crossed out. Sometimes just they don't get to win over and over. One night, staring at my bloodshot eyes in the mirror, I said it aloud, "You can walk away, not out of defeat, but out of choice." I realized I didn't have to fix this family anymore. I didn't have to repair anything. I didn't have to play the role of emotional janitor. I could just stop. It was terrifying and freeing. I started pulling my accounts apart. Passwords, emails, cards. I combed through my financial footprint like preparing for war. First, I froze my credit. No more surprise loan applications. Then, new logins for every account. Banking, utilities, even Netflix. Everything got a new password and two-factor authentication. After that, I made a spreadsheet of every loan, gift, or payment I'd ever given Chloe or Mom. For me. Just to see it. $1,400 for Chloe's first car, $2,800 for her apartment deposit, $950 for Mom's dental surgery, $5,200 for the roof, $3,000 for Chloe's tuition, $9,500 in unrepaid loans. The total, $26,850. Not even counting the car. I stared at that number, then deleted it. It didn't matter. I wasn't getting it back. I wasn't going to chase it. It was gone, but I wasn't. And now I had to decide what came next. David was still pushing the civil suit. The car buyer's statement, receipts, the ad Chloe posted, a screenshot of her text, "My brother won't even notice. He's in Japan." That sentence hit harder than anything. My brother won't even notice. I was just a bank vault in her head. A faceless ATM. Not a person, not family, just a useful idiot. I started reading about narcissistic parents, golden child dynamics, enmeshment, triangulation, emotional scapegoats. Forums, videos. I saw myself in every comment. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overreacting. I had been conditioned since childhood to accept being used, to see sacrifice as love, to mistake guilt for obligation. Not anymore. I went no contact. Blocked them both, phone, email, social. I called Aunt Carol and told her everything. She cried, apologized for not stepping in sooner. I told her it wasn't her fault, but it would be mine if I kept letting it continue. I started therapy. Awkward at first. My mom sold my car and stole my dad's letter. But the therapist just listened. Slowly, I started unraveling years of pain buried under "I'm fine." I wasn't fine. I was surviving, barely. But survival was enough. One afternoon, a week after blocking them, an email from an unknown address. Subject: I found this in Mom's drawer. Sender: Chloe's ex-boyfriend, Leo. We'd met twice. He was soft-spoken, kind. Attached: a scan of a cashier's check, $15,000, from my father, made out to me, dated 3 years ago. Leo wrote, I know you probably don't trust anyone related to Chloe, but I thought you should see this. She asked me to cash this once. Said it was an unused gift. I thought it was shady. Took a picture, never went through with it. I broke up with her not long after. Found this in a drawer she left behind. Do with it what you want. Just thought you deserved to know. I stared at the screen. There it was. Proof. They'd taken the money. Lied. Hid it. Probably spent it. Something shifted inside me. Not rage, not grief, but clarity. I wasn't going to beg for an apology. Not going to confront them. Not going to ask for anything. I was going to act. And when I was done, they'd never forget what it felt like to underestimate me. But before I explain what I did, I have to tell you about one more betrayal. Because the worst wasn't the car, wasn't the check, wasn't even the blackmail. It was the will. And what I found out changed everything. The will came to me by accident. Or maybe fate. I don't know. All I know is I never would have seen it if my aunt hadn't called in a panic. Thursday morning, I was at my kitchen table, trying to breathe through the quiet. Therapy was helping. The apartment was clean. I was showering, working out. My phone buzzed. Aunt Carol. She rarely called before noon. Ethan, she whispered. I just left your mom's house. Something's not right. I sat up. What happened? She was ranting about you again. Said she protected the family legacy by keeping you in check. I didn't understand what she meant until she left the room and I saw the folder. What folder? She hesitated. It had your grandpa Arthur's name on it. I nodded. Of course. He died when I was 17. Quiet, stern man. Taught me to change a tire, balance a checkbook, grill burgers without setting the patio on fire. He was Mom's father, and we were close. He'd slip me $20 bills. You didn't get this from me, son. When he passed, Mom said he hadn't left a will. Said the house went to her automatically, not much else. I believed her. Until now. Aunt Carol continued. I snapped a photo before she came back. I didn't want to fight, but Ethan, I think she lied to all of us. I felt the chill before I saw the image. A single page, scanned and tilted. Last will and testament of Arthur Roberts, dated 6 months before he died. I zoomed in. I, Arthur Roberts, being of sound mind and body, do hereby bequeath the following. Standard lines, then, to my grandson, Ethan James Roberts, I leave the house located at 142 Oakwood Drive, along with the adjoining land in full, to do with as he pleases. I stopped reading. 142 Oakwood Drive. That was Mom's house. The one she said she inherited by default. The one she used to guilt-trip me. The one she refinanced twice for Chloe's business ventures. It wasn't hers. It was mine. My heart raced. I scrolled. He left Aunt Carol a classic car and stocks. Mom a modest savings account. But the house, the biggest asset, was clearly left to me. And she hid it. For 10 years. Stole the will, claimed there wasn't one, forged the title transfer through probate as if she were the sole heir. It made sense why she never let me see documents after the funeral. Why she brushed off questions. Don't worry about the paperwork. It's all taken care of. It was all lies. I sat there shaking, not with rage, but adrenaline. This was it. The final puzzle piece, the anchor. Now I had leverage. For the first time, I was done playing defense. I sent the image to David. He responded in under 10 minutes. This changes everything. Meet me Friday. We're getting a court order. From that moment, the rise began. Not fast, not flashy, just steady, quiet, controlled. Like a storm building when clouds go black and the air goes still. I started keeping a second phone, not for calls, just for documenting. Photos of everything. Screenshots of old texts, statements, receipts. Emails, archived folders, timelines. David and I compiled a full dossier. The stolen car, the forged sale, identity theft, intercepted check, and now the hidden will. We filed 3 separate civil actions: fraud and unlawful sale, the Audi, identity theft and attempted loan, BMW financing, and probate fraud/concealment of a will, Grandpa Arthur's estate. The suits weren't just civil, they had criminal teeth. But David advised quiet. Let the courts work. Keep our powder dry. I focused on myself. Transferred savings out of shared institutions. Opened new accounts, rewrote my will, updated beneficiaries, restructured my business into an S-corp, asset protection. Legal distance. I sold my condo and bought a secluded house on the edge of the city. Quiet, gated, big windows. Mine. No shared keys. I worked harder, not to prove anything, but for me. Commissions tripled. A 6-figure deal. Invited to speak at a tech conference. A side project generating passive income. And still, I didn't reach out. Didn't gloat. Didn't retaliate publicly. I just let them squirm. Rumors started spreading. Aunt Carol told a few people. Leo shared the check photo. Then the court papers hit. Mom and Chloe were served on a Tuesday. I wasn't there, but I wish I'd seen their faces. Word spread fast. Their image of me, unstable, greedy, selfish, began to unravel. People started asking questions. Mom's passive-aggressive Facebook quotes slowed. Chloe deleted Instagram. But that wasn't even the best part. 2 weeks later, David called. I spoke to the car buyer. He's willing to turn the car over. No reimbursement required. He just wants to walk away clean. I couldn't believe it. Are you serious? Dead serious. You'll have your car back by next Friday. Just like that, the Audi came home. Same color, same engine. A few cosmetic changes, but nothing I couldn't restore. The first time I slid into that seat, heard the roar, something shifted inside me. Not ego, not revenge, just closure. I was back in the driver's seat, literally and metaphorically. From there, everything accelerated. I reconnected with Dad. I hadn't called him since finding the letter, unsure how to start. What do you say to a man who missed half your life? Who tried to reach you only to be intercepted? But after everything, I needed his voice. I called the number. 5 rings, then voicemail. I hung up. 10 minutes later, he called back. Hello? His voice was gravelly, hesitant. Hi, this is Ethan. Silence. Then, Ethan? A sharp inhale. Son, he whispered, is it really you? We talked for 3 hours. He didn't make excuses, didn't rewrite history. He owned it. Should have fought harder. Never stopped thinking about me. Told me about his quiet life in Montana, working part-time at a garage, watching baseball. Never remarried, no more kids. Always hoped for another chance. I didn't forgive him completely that day, but I started to. And more importantly, I gave myself permission to move forward. No more what-ifs. No more looking back. The rise wasn't about becoming untouchable. It was about becoming unbreakable. And I wasn't done yet because the court hearing was coming. And what happened in that courtroom? Let's just say they never saw it coming. But I'll tell you about that soon because first you need to hear what my mother did right before the hearing. It was desperate. It was cruel. And it proved once and for all, she never loved me the way a mother should. The email came at 6:14 a.m. Not from David. Not from a court clerk. Not from some long-lost family member. It came from a name I hadn't seen in years, Walter Hayes. He was my grandfather's attorney, a sharp, dry old man with steel gray hair and a stare that could pierce drywall. I remembered him faintly from Grandpa Arthur's funeral, dressed in a black coat. He stood by the casket, nodded respectfully, and slipped a hand onto my shoulder when no one was looking. I'll be seeing you, he'd said. I thought he meant it in the sad, comforting way adults speak to kids at funerals. Turns out, he meant it literally. The email was brief. Subject, the Roberts estate. Remaining documents. Ethan, I've recently been made aware of renewed activity surrounding Arthur Roberts' estate, and your legal counsel has informed me of the circumstances. There is a second file that was never delivered to you. Per your grandfather's instructions, it was to be withheld until your 30th birthday, or unless the estate was contested prematurely. Given current events, I believe it is time to make you aware of its contents. I am attaching a copy of the sealed letter and the asset summary. We should arrange a call. Respectfully, W. Hayes. I froze. 30th birthday. I was 27. But now that the estate was being contested due to the fraudulent title transfer by my mother, the secondary contents were being released early. I opened the attachment, hands trembling. A scan of another letter. This one typed, but signed in Grandpa Arthur's distinctive all-caps scroll. It read, Ethan, if you're reading this, it means one of two things. Either you're 30 and finally ready to be a real man, or someone's made a mess big enough to force my lawyer's hand. Knowing this family, I put my money on the second. There's a storage unit in your name. The key is taped under this letter, and the address is listed below. Inside is everything your mother didn't want you to see. Financial records, property documents, photographs, and one very important safe. The combination is the year I married your grandmother. This family's legacy is yours, not hers. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Love you, kid. You were always the sharpest of the bunch. Grandpa Arthur. I read it twice, then a third time. No key taped to the digital copy, of course. But the attached file included the address and an official storage unit receipt with my name on it, signed by Arthur Roberts 6 months before he passed. I stared at the screen, stunned. He'd hidden something. No, he'd preserved something for me. Something my mother never got her hands on. I forwarded the email to David. We need to talk ASAP. This changes things. Then I got in my car and drove. The storage unit was in a quiet industrial part of town. The woman behind the counter asked for ID, looked me up, then handed me a new key from a locked drawer. It's been sitting there a long time, she said casually. Unit 1143. When I rolled the door up, dust poured out like smoke. The air was stale, dry, laced with the faint scent of oil and mothballs. Inside were 5 large boxes stacked neatly, and a black, waist-high safe tucked against the back wall. I didn't hesitate. I crouched, stared at the dial, and turned it to 1-9-6-2. Click. The door opened. Inside were 2 things, a worn leather binder and a velvet pouch. The pouch contained an old gold pocket watch, engraved with initials I didn't recognize, probably my great-grandfather's. The binder, though, that's where the treasure was. It held copies of 4 property deeds, all signed by Arthur and fully paid off. Only one, the house at 142 Oakwood Drive, was ever mentioned during probate. The others never surfaced. Tucked away, a full stock portfolio with handwritten notes in the margins. He'd invested in local construction firms, telecom companies, even tech stocks in the early 2000s. Receipts for silver bars held at a downtown bank vault, valued at $78,000 when purchased. An original life insurance policy listing me, not my mother, as the primary beneficiary, $250,000. And finally, a letter of instruction to his attorney, Walter Hayes, requesting that under no circumstances should his daughter, my mother, be given control of these assets due to patterns of manipulation, poor financial decisions, and emotional instability. I stared at that line for a long time. I wasn't crazy. Grandpa saw it, too. He'd known. He tried to protect me. And Mom still found a way to take control, at least of what she thought was the entire estate. But now, I had documentation, paper trails, real physical evidence of fraud, concealment, and misappropriation. David was ecstatic. "This isn't just leverage," he said. "This is a missile." We began preparing a supplemental case for probate fraud, one that would bring forward the concealed inheritance and request the court to not only reverse the original house title, but audit all dispersed funds related to the estate. But I wasn't just planning to sue. I was setting up something more long-term. The Roberts name still meant something in our town. My grandfather was respected, quiet, charitable, generous. He funded local parks, donated to the fire department, built shelters. So, I made a decision. I used a portion of my new assets, specifically from the Tech Stock Fund, to establish a foundation in his name, the Arthur Roberts Legacy Trust. Simple mission: fund educational scholarships for underprivileged teens and sponsor youth mentorship programs. Here's the twist: I launched it publicly. Press release, local paper, ribbon-cutting ceremony. My name front and center. Grandson of Arthur Roberts launches $500,000 legacy fund in his honor. You better believe people noticed. My mother noticed. Chloe noticed. And so did all the people they'd been lying to. The family who believed I was mentally unwell. They saw the photos. The neighbors who whispered about my greed? They read the interview. Grandpa Arthur's old friends, who thought his legacy had vanished. They started calling me, sharing stories, giving testimonies. The more they spoke, the clearer the pattern became. Mom hadn't just lied to me. She'd erased him. After his death, she told people he was bitter, cut contact, didn't want his estate turned into some silly legacy project. But it was a lie. She just didn't want anyone to remember him fondly, let alone for me to inherit his material assets. Now that narrative was crumbling, one donor at a time, one interview at a time, one awkward phone call at a time. You can't hide the truth forever. Not when the receipts exist. And the more the spotlight turned toward me, the more the court started paying attention. The probate hearing was scheduled. The fraud case was building momentum. The community was watching. I had the documents. I had the legal team. I had the voice. And when it was time, I planned to use all of it. Not just to reclaim what was stolen, but to make sure they never got the chance to steal from anyone again. But before I could do that, Mom made one last move. One desperate, final card up her sleeve. And it was worse than I ever imagined. She showed up the night before the court date. I should have known she wouldn't go quietly. It was nearly midnight. I was reviewing final notes David sent, case law citations, bullet points summarizing the documented fraud. My breath had a calm, heavy rhythm. Not anxious, not angry, just grounded. Then came the knock. I didn't even need to check the peephole. I opened the door slowly. And there she was, my mother, dressed in a pressed cream blouse, lipstick too bright, holding a Tupperware container like she was still pretending this was some normal family visit. Her smile was tight, too tight, like someone who'd practiced it in the mirror. "Hi, honey," she said. I didn't move. "It's late." She laughed softly, dry and brittle. I know. I thought we could talk before all this nonsense tomorrow." Nonsense. She stepped in like I'd invited her, brushing past me with the confidence of someone who used to own everything in the room. I let her. I was done arguing about boundaries. Let the predator walk into the trap. She placed the Tupperware on the kitchen counter. "Snickerdoodles," she said. "Your favorite." I said nothing. She sighed, walked to the living room, and sat on the edge of the couch like she didn't recognize it. Then she spoke again, softer. "I've been thinking, maybe we should find a way to settle all of this. Privately?" I leaned against the kitchen doorway. "Privately?" "Yes. No more lawyers, no more accusations, just family. You and me." I let the silence hang. "I've been praying, Ethan," she added. "Really praying. And I realized we've both made mistakes. Big ones. You forged my name and sold my car. That was a misunderstanding." I laughed. Just one breath of air and disbelief. She stood. "You think you're the only one who's hurt? The only one who lost something?" "I lost my son." "You didn't lose me," I said calmly. "You gambled me away." Her expression tightened. I took a step closer. "You want to talk about loss? Let's talk about Grandpa's will. The one you hid. The one where he left me the house, the land, the portfolio, everything. You stole all of it, lied to Aunt Carol, lied to the court, lied to me." Her face dropped for the briefest second before she recovered. "He was old. He didn't know what he was doing." I pulled my phone out, opened the file from the storage unit, highlighted the line where Arthur explicitly requested I be given control of his estate due to your patterns of manipulation, poor financial decisions, and emotional instability. She read it, and for the first time in years, I watched her mouth go completely dry. I pressed. "Do you remember the storage unit, Mom?" Her hand gripped the couch cushion. "That wasn't supposed to." "No, it wasn't. Because you counted on me staying silent, on me trusting you. You underestimated me." She opened her mouth, but I cut her off. "I'm done arguing. I'm done yelling. I'm done trying. Tomorrow, the court will see every document, every lie, every signature you forged, every dollar you misused, and every asset you stole." "You'd really destroy your own mother?" she hissed. "No," I said. "You destroyed yourself. I'm just turning on the lights." She stared at me, and something shifted in her eyes. The mask slipped. The warmth, the pleading, it drained away, replaced by something harder, colder. Then she did something I didn't expect. She smiled. "Then I guess you won't care that I already moved the funds." I blinked. "What funds?" She turned toward the door, her keys jingling. "The stock portfolio. The silver. The legacy. Do you really think I didn't know what was in that storage unit?" My stomach dropped. "I've been watching your accounts, Ethan," she continued. "Long before you blocked me. You think I didn't notice when you cashed out the investments and started the foundation? Cute move, by the way. Very noble. My jaw clenched. What did you do? Let's just say a few wires might have gone missing. A few documents adjusted. My brain raced. David had moved assets into a protected trust, yes, but some of the older accounts. I hadn't closed everything yet. I thought I had more time. You won't get away with that, I said. I already have. And then she left. Just like that. No fight. No more lies. Just an exit soaked in smugness. The door clicked shut. For a moment, the only sound was the refrigerator humming. I called David. Ethan, he answered, groggy. She said she moved the money. He was silent for a beat. She doesn't have the authority. She claimed she had access. I didn't shut down the Chase bank account from Grandpa's old holdings. It was small. I thought it was dormant. Give me 15 minutes, he said. We'll find out. I paced my apartment like a wolf in a cage. 15 minutes later, David called back. She's lying. I exhaled, but he added, she tried. She submitted a forged transfer request 3 days ago, claiming power of attorney, but the request got flagged because you're the listed trustee now, and the notary stamp she used was fake. We've already forwarded it to the fraud unit. Relief flooded me, but it was cold. Hollow. Because I knew that was her last shot. And now it was my turn. The next morning, I walked into the courtroom in a navy blue suit, holding a thick binder, accompanied by David and an associate. The room smelled of stale paper and dust. Chloe was already there, sitting behind our mother, who looked dressed for Easter Sunday, her eyes sharp, darting. The judge called the case. David opened with the property fraud, the forged title transfer of 142 Oakwood Drive. He laid out the will, the timeline, the concealed documents, the false statements made in probate court. We presented the storage unit inventory, the trust documents, and a notarized letter from Walter Hayes himself, confirming the existence of the second file and the intent to delay it until my 30th birthday. The judge interrupted only once, asking for clarification on the vehicle involved in the separate civil case. David handed him a VIN lookup and a title registry under my holding company. The judge raised an eyebrow. You structured your car purchase through a trust? Yes, Your Honor, I said calmly. It's a company asset. He looked back at my mother. So when you sold the car, you did so knowing it wasn't in your son's name? Answer yes or no. She froze. Yes. By the time we reached the identity theft and attempted loan application, Chloe was visibly sweating. She clutched her purse. David presented the application documents, the address, the fake phone number, the bank's fraud report, the photo of the check Chloe had tried to cash, and Leo's email. Then came the final blow, the sealed statement from Grandpa Arthur. I am leaving the estate in the hands of Ethan because I trust him to preserve what I've built. My daughter has proven time and again that she cannot manage money nor accept responsibility without blaming others. I do this not out of anger but necessity. When David read that line aloud, the courtroom went silent. Even the clerk stopped typing. The judge leaned back, tapping a pen against the desk. I'm ruling in favor of Mr. Roberts, he said finally. Full restoration of the original will. Property ownership reverts immediately. Probate documents to be amended. Fraudulent transfers nullified. My mother inhaled sharply, as if slapped. And due to the attempted identity theft and forged financial filings, I am recommending this case for criminal review. That was it. The gavel came down. But the real revenge, it wasn't the legal win. It came later that week when I served Mom and Chloe with an eviction notice. 142 Oakwood Drive was mine again. Not out of ego, out of principle. The house had stood for decades, built by my grandfather, maintained by his values. He didn't want it to be a battleground. He wanted it to be a legacy. And I was finally ready to honor that. They didn't go quietly, of course. There was crying, begging, accusations of heartlessness. But I stood firm. No yelling, no lectures, just calm legal inevitability. They didn't respect emotion. But they understood consequences. Still, there was one final twist left, one I never saw coming, and it arrived in the form of a handwritten note slid under my door 2 days after the eviction. From Chloe. And what she wrote changed everything. The note was on a torn piece of yellow legal pad. No envelope, just folded once and slid under my door. No name on the outside, but the handwriting was unmistakably hers, loopy, rushed, like she was trying to outrun her own conscience. I hesitated before opening it. After everything, I didn't think there was anything left to say. But curiosity has a way of bending even the strongest resolve. I unfolded the paper and read the crooked lines in black gel pen. Ethan, I know you hate me. I probably deserve it, but I never meant for any of this to go so far. It started small. Mom said it would be temporary, just to help me get ahead, and then we'd fix it later. The check from Dad, the car, even the loan. I thought you'd forgive us eventually, like you always do. You always forgave. But when you didn't, when you actually fought back, I didn't know what to do. And now I've lost everything. You, the house, my job, my name. I'm moving to Florida. I got a friend who can let me crash for a bit. I know you probably don't believe me, but I really am sorry. If you ever want to talk, or even yell at me, here's my number. I changed it again. Chloe. I read it once, then again. For a brief flicker, I felt the pull of what-ifs. What if we had grown up differently? What if Mom hadn't chosen her as the favorite, or hadn't made me the mule? What if there hadn't been so many lies sewn into the foundation of our family that you couldn't tell what was memory and what was manipulation? But then I folded the note neatly and slid it into the drawer with the court documents. I didn't respond. Not because I didn't care, but because I had finally learned that some apologies don't buy their way back in. Not when the cost has been your trust, your dignity, your peace. Chloe was gone a week later. Her social media disappeared. Her name stopped coming up in family whispers. Aunt Carol heard she was working part-time at a restaurant near Miami, living on a couch, dating some guy she met online. I didn't investigate. Mom didn't move out willingly. She dragged her feet, filed a delay, tried to appeal the eviction, claimed it was unjust for her son to displace his own mother, that she was elderly and sick, though she wasn't. That the house had always been hers. But the law was clear, the will was ironclad, and I wasn't 12 years old anymore, desperate for her approval. She left in the middle of the night, took everything she could carry, photos, jewelry, furniture, even the patio cushions. But she couldn't take the land, the deed, the name carved into the stone mailbox out front. When I visited the property the next morning, I found the door unlocked, the living room stripped bare. Just echoes and dust and the faint smell of her perfume still clinging to the air. On the kitchen counter, she left a single note on a napkin: "You've always been selfish. Enjoy your empty castle." I smiled, not because it didn't sting, but because for once she was wrong. The house didn't feel empty. It felt free. In the months that followed, things changed. I restored the house, but I didn't live in it. Instead, I turned it into something better, a transitional home for teens aging out of the foster system. The same kids who, like me, were told to man up too soon, who carried burdens their parents refused to hold. We partnered with the foundation, added mentorship programs, brought in counselors, opened a scholarship named after my grandfather. We called it Arthur's Place, and slowly it started filling with life. I'd visit on weekends. Sometimes I'd bring dinner, sit on the porch, talk with the residents about coding or cars or just life. One of them, Trevor, 18, smart as hell, asked me once, "Why did you build this place?" And I told him the truth. Because some families take everything from you. But that doesn't mean you can't build something better. He nodded like he understood. I think he did. As for me, I'm good now. Really, truly good. I sleep better. Laugh louder. Love deeper. I reconnected with my father. We're not best friends, but we talk every Sunday. He came to see the house once, stood in front of it quietly, and said, "Your grandfather would have been proud of you." Then he hugged me and didn't let go for a long time. I'm not angry anymore. Not bitter, just awake. Because here's the thing they don't tell you about revenge. It's not always about payback. Sometimes it's about removing the wreckage others left behind. Sometimes it's about planting something new in the scorched earth. And sometimes, if you're lucky, it's about building something so good, so honest, so true that the people who tried to break you have no choice but to live in the shadow of what you created without them. That's what I did. That's what I'll keep doing. Because I'm not just the son they underestimated. I'm the man they could never become. What would you have built in my place?